Okay, so I'm gonna start making my next knife now, and I just want to just like show you the design before I actually start doing anything. Today I'm gonna cut out the shape out of the steel. So this is just gonna be another kitchen knife, and it's from my mom. The first one is it's like perfect for chopping, but it's a little heavy for just like everyday use, like well for like an all around knife. So I decided to make this one for her. And my main priority on this one is just for it to be lightweight. Um, I don't know if I'll actually like cut any holes into the handle. I mean into the handle area of the steel. But we'll see. We'll see later on after I cut it out. So this one, there's not really nothing really like special about it. I can't whenever I do a knife for somebody. Well, for my mom, I guess she's. Whenever I make something for somebody, I always have to work under certain like parameters, certain things. I can't make it too crazy, or I can't make it like that. Like the other one, it's too heavy, so I can't really do a lot of things that I want to do. So this one, pretty plain and simple. This little design here is just so it goes with her other knife. Some of these things are basically the handle is going to be red. It's just so it matches with her other knife. The top here is actually going to be completely straight, but this right here, this line is going to be I'm going to crown the top. So I'm going to make it round, but I'm going to try to make it more steep here, and then slowly make it less steep, more rounded, so that it's so it matches kind of the design of the other knife. The other knife had this little swoop going. I decided not to have that on this one, but just kind of have a little like a faint kind of match to the design of that one. So on the belly on this one, I did redraw it a few times. If I put out the belly out here more, it's less pointy, but you get more belly, so you're able to cut things. Like if this was the knife, you're able to cut things a little bit easier this way. But I think this is a good compromise of just the right amount of belly with enough tip. The more belly you have, the less tip you have, basically. Like I said, this is for the design. I'm gonna put out this is gonna be G10 handle, a G10 handle. I'm going to bring out the handle out to here, a little bit past the steel, and then here, this is something different I haven't done before, but I'm going to make this little bump here a little bit less wide than the lower one. So if you can see, if you drew like where this starts, if you drew a line out to the center of here and then a line out to center here. Oh, it's pretty crazy windy out there, so just heads up on the sound. So smaller hump here. I think that'll give because you have this well, everybody's hand has like a small divot, and then when you do grab, you have a lot of space in your fingers, basically. So I'm trying to fill up this small divot while still leaving a lot of space for your hands. So we'll see how that works. I kind of, if it does work, I'll incorporate it to another knife that I'm gonna make for myself later on. It's gonna be a Vanax knife too. So other than that, I am gonna try. I won't tell you now, but I'll show you later on. I'm gonna try another. I've done some corrosion tests, some new corrosion tests. I'll put that video up later on. It is a mess, but I have to edit it. So I did do some Vanax corrosion tests, and I got some weird results. So I'll put that up. But because of those results, I'm gonna change this knife because this is gonna be Vanax. I'm going to see if I can make this corrosion proof, because the other one, surprisingly, is not, for a very weird reason. Okay, so this is I'm gonna get started on this today, but I wanted to show you this beauty, which I'll get started probably in about a week. So here, I'll get to lift up the camera a bit. So it's a Halberd axe. So I don't know. I've been wanting to make this for a while. And overall, I can't really, let me stand up. So there you go. So overall it's so it's 2 feet long. It's going to be a 1/4 inch thick, and the width is 7 inches. So I took a picture of a halberd I like and basically copied it in a miniaturized version. So I copied it by hand onto this paper in a miniaturized version so I can have it as a one-handed axe. It's kind of ridiculous. It's going to be a huge amount of steel. It's going to be CPM 3V. Overall, this is going to be a huge amount of everything, time, just in general. But this is what gets me like pumped up, basically. Like this is like something I'm really looking forward to. So I'm gonna go over the design of like why I chose what I did, and then specifically why I didn't too. Actually, why I didn't choose what I did too. So I'll start with the axe. So the axe itself. So I could have either gone flat, straight. I could have straightened it out more, and I'll talk about the angle of the handle too. That orients with the axe and the rest of the halberd. So this axe, if you hit something straight flat, like let's say this was completely parallel to whatever you hit, whatever surface you're hitting, you're gonna lose a ton of force just by hitting something completely parallel, because you have a large amount of surface area hitting something. So you're gonna lose all that power there. In comparison, there's still a lot of power, but in comparison to actually bringing it down to a point, to a certain, like a small area. So if you do swing at something with this, you're first going to swing, you're going to hit with this area, and then the rest is going to actually help with a cut, since it goes at an angle. So you'll hit something with a small area, and then that'll then transition into the rest, but that angle is going to help cut into whatever you're hitting. So I kept that angle instead of going flat, or even more. There's some that have an angle that's even crazier, but the thing is, I do want to use this for chopping. So I want this like an all around. I actually want to use it as an axe, and I will use it as an axe too. After this is going to be months from now. When this is finished, it's going to be months. So after I finish it, I am going to go out and part of the reason is I'm going to go out and use it. And part of the reason I'm going to use a certain type of rivet, and I'm going to just use it as a way to see if the rivets actually last. So I'm going to use the rivets on this axe to see if they're actually strong or not. So going to the top, the point. So this point, I shortened it down. I mean, I had to. On the regular halberds, they're like probably like 12 inches. This is a 6-inch, I don't know what to call this thing. Point. I'm just gonna call it point. So for the axe, it's gonna be ground down to about here, and I'm gonna do a convex edge. I'm gonna do convex edge on any edge that I have on this. So it's just this guy and this guy are gonna have an edge. On this guy, it's not going to be a doubled edge, it's just going to be a single edge. So here, as you can see, there's a bit of an angle towards the back. So what's going to happen, in case you miss, these are meant for poking basically, but like let's say you swing at something, you miss. So going by an arc at what you're doing, the next part which is going to hit is basically this area here. So from here on down, I'm not going to sharpen it. I'm just going to sharpen it from here on up. And then it's only going to go probably the edge. I mean, I'm only going to start, the first bevel is only going to start from probably about here. And then it's going to gradually gradually get smaller to almost nothing. It's going to be a crazy thick tip. And it has to be, in my opinion, because it's all this weight that you have here. If you hit wood with this point, concentrated on on that, like let's say you miss everything, and you only hit this area, that is an insane amount of force on one point. So I have to make it as thick as possible, basically. So almost as thick as it's gonna be, basically. So it's a 1/4 inch thick. So I'm almost gonna leave it at that point, at that thickness. Now for this, I could have made it longer, I could have made it shorter, but I think this is perfect. So for just, wow, that's all the wind. So I think this is perfect just for in case, just to give this more reach. So 6 inches is enough. It's a little bit more than 6 inches, but 6 inches is enough, I think, for poking power. I think it's enough for that, and it's also long enough that if you do want to cut something, this does add to it. So in case you miss with this, you still get a second chance. And I could have curved this more. I could have curved it forward. I could have curved it backwards. I could have done this tip for it to have a curve, like a sword or something, like a broadsword or something like that. What I don't like about that, if you curve this forward like this, and if you hit something, then that is going to put a ton of power into whatever. Let's say you miss and you hit it with something that angled like that, it's going to put a ton of power into whatever you're hitting. But in relation, you're going to put a ton of stress on the tip too. If I do this, if I angle it more this way, let's say you happen to hit something after you miss with this, all the force is going to glance off, basically. So to damage something as much as you can, you want this, basically. If you want to damage something with this point as much as you can, if you're swinging, you want it angled towards what you're swinging as much as you can, and then basically you are hitting it as hard as you can, basically, with this point. If you want to protect the point as much as you can too, you want to angle it this way so it glances off. So when it hits, it slides off. But I think this is a compromise for both things, and you can still poke with it. This, even more like this, will reduce the ability for it to poke stuff. Same thing if you do it this way, straight, and then if you see this edge here, it's actually angled a little bit. I'm hoping that will help in having some of that power glance off a bit while still doing a good amount of damage. For this, it's like a parrot beak. I'm going to basically, I'm not going to grind it. I'm going to keep the original thickness up until this point here, these 2 points, and then from there on I'm going to round it out. I'm going to leave quite a bit of tip. So I'm just going to basically, if you imagine a 1/4 inch plate, and I'm just going to basically reduce the edges, and that's it. I'm not going to wear it down to or grind it down to like a tip. It's just going to be slightly reduced and then rounded a bit on this one. The only thing I changed from the original, I did make it a little bit, the original seemed to be a little bit down more. I put it up a bit more, just so it has a better chance of like hitting, because this is going to be a one-handed thing, not a two-handed thing. So for handle, same thing. I'm going to use G10 because I'm going to test that specific type of rivet. It's going to be a specific rivet with, I don't want to say it yet, I'll tell you guys later. So it's G10 handle, and then the rivets, because I need that specific pair to test it. I'm going to smooth all this out. I'm going to round all this out, starting from where the handle starts. And so that is, so if in case I want to grab it two-handed to poke stuff with, I can. It's going to be a secondary handle. I could have put this, I could have taken this handle all the way up to here, and I've seen some people do that on certain axes, but I basically want just a complete clean sweep. Whenever you cut something, I don't want this. I don't care what angle you cut in. I don't want any extra material getting in the way, basically. This opens whatever you're cutting. I want it to go as far as, I don't want any impediment at all. So I'm just going to round this out, and that'll act as a secondary handle. All I need is this and this part here will act as a stop for the hand. Further down, this little point here, this I curved forward. So if you do a handle, if you see this, the bottom of your palm does stick out a little bit more. If you lower down the part that's going to be for your palm, it does help. I've noticed, to where your for your grip, basically, to get a nicer grip. So I did higher this part, did make this little stop higher than this stop, and so basically what's going to happen is this is going to stick out. I'm going to have a piece stick out here. The center is going to be curved in like this, but it's basically just going to be rounded out from here to here, and the only difference in depth or whatever is going to be these ends, which are going to stick up a bit, just to keep, maybe not this one, I'm not sure yet, but for sure this one is going to stick out. It's going to stick out to the sides. Here I'm going to have a point. It's going to be very similar to this point here, where I'm just going to grind the corners and then leave a rounded out tip. If you see the angle of I'm going to have to stand up for this. If you see the angle of the handle, I could have done a lot of things, and I tried a lot of things. You can see a bunch of erase marks and stuff. I tried like a hatchet, in which the angle was a little bit more in tune with this, but I didn't like that, because for the same reason, I want this to start to hit with this area here. The angle here with this is in line with this tip here. So I ended up just choosing this area. I'm gonna have to wait 1 second. I'm gonna have to close this door. Okay. I have a neighbor that out of the blue he'll bring my cans in. They pick them up yesterday. They picked them up yesterday, and he'll just bring them in. So I'm gonna avoid him for a second. All right. So okay. So this is in line with this tip here, and so I think this was a good compromise. I tapered this to give it as much strength as possible here too, where it's not too thin. So any taper you do on anything, you want it to be nice and gradual. So last thing is this little area. What I'm gonna do is for the rivets, I'm gonna put rivets on the very edge. I'm gonna keep the center solid, just to give this thing more strength. And then last, just to show you, this is the piece of steel, and it's beautiful. Okay, I gotta go. All right, bye.